Good day, everyone. My name is Ong Jae Sing, and together with my partner today, Nur Shafira, we will be presenting our reflection on my student-centered mathematics classroom for the course of pedagogy in mathematics. In this reflection, we will share how we would design and manage a student-centered mathematics lesson based on the knowledge and skill that we learn from the topic 1 to 4. Rather than simply explaining theory, we will reflect on how this idea can be applied in a real classroom to help students understand mathematics, participate actively, and develop confidence in their learning. Let's begin by introducing the mathematics topic and the learner that we choose from the lesson. Okay, so let's referring to the topic 3. We will first consider who our learners are and what they need before planning our lessons. For this reflection, we will select the topic of linear equation in one variable for formal students. And it is a fundamental topic to help students build a strong foundation in algebra and prepare them for the more advanced conceptual mathematics question. Our classroom consists of mixed ability, learners with different level of prior knowledge and confidence in the learning space. While some students are able to work independently, others may need visual support, teacher guide, and even the encouragement throughout the lesson. Therefore, we believe it is important to create an inclusive classroom where every student feels supported and comfortable to participate actively. And our teaching support focus on helping students develop conceptual understanding before they introducing the procedure. We will also encourage students to learn through the discussion, collaboration, and problem solving while connecting mathematics to the meaningful real life situation. Most importantly, we want students to feel confident in explaining thinking, their mathematical thinking, and to see their mistake as valuable opportunity for learning for and improvement. With these learners and teaching focus in mind, we will carefully select the learning theory that will guide the design of our lesson. Okay, so before we designing our lesson, we will first consider how the student will learn the mathematics most effectively. By referring to the topic 1, we will choose the cognitive constructivism and the social constructivism because these both theories support a student learning approach. According to the cognitive constructivism, students can learn the best when they are actively construct their own understanding and ideas instead of simply receiving the information from the teacher. Therefore, rather than explaining the procedure at the beginning of the lesson, we will encourage students to explore mathematical idea and identify the pattern or even develop their own solution strategy. Throughout this process, teacher will act as a facilitator by guiding students with questions instead of giving the direct answer. At the same time, social constructivism highlights the importance of the learning through collaboration and interaction. In our lesson, students will work together to discuss their ideas, compare their different solution strategy, and explain their mathematical thinking. By learning from one another, students will expose to different perspectives while the teacher continue to guide and support their learning through the questioning and discussion. By combining these two learning theory, we hope we can create a classroom where students actively construct their understanding, learning confidently through collaboration, and develop stronger reasoning instead of memorizing procedure. We believe this approach helps students build conceptual understanding, communication, their ideas more effectively, and become a more confident learners. This learning theory provides the foundation for our lesson design. In next session, we will demonstrate how these ideas are applied through the student center using a 5E instructional model. Okay, now we come to the goal for teaching mathematics. According to the topic 2, the goal of the teaching mathematics is not only to help students find the correct answer, but also to develop their understanding, reasoning, and confidence in learning. In our lesson, we will first focus on conceptual understanding by giving students understand why linear equations work before introducing their procedure for solving them. By connecting mathematics with meaningful real-life situations, students are able to see the purpose of what they are learning instead of simply memorizing formulas. After students understand the concept, we aim to develop their procedural fluency by giving opportunity for them to apply the correct mathematical procedure accurately and confidently. Throughout the lesson, students are also encouraged to develop mathematical reasoning by explaining their ideas, comparing different solution strategy, or even justifying their answer during this discussion. At the same time, we hope to build a positive attitude toward mathematics by creating a supportive classroom where students feel confident to participate, ask questions, or even learn from their mistakes. Together, this teaching goal guide every activity that we have designed in our lesson. Okay, we come to the instructional planning. Let's referring to the topic 3 again. We will plan our lesson by ensuring that it's aligned with the Form 1 Mathematics SKP. This helps us make sure that our lessons support both curriculum requirement and our student learning needs. Our lesson focus on linear equation in one variable and is designed for our Form 1 mixed ability classroom, where students have different level of readiness and learning needs. Therefore, our lesson is planned to provide appropriate support while encouraging every student to participate actively throughout the learning process. And our lesson is aligned with the Content Standard 6.1 linear equation in one variable and specifically address learning standard 6.1.2, 6.1.3, and 6.1.4 here. This learning standard requires students to form a linear equation from real-life situation and solve one variable linear equation and even apply them to the mathematical problem. Based on this DCKP, learning standard will then develop our lesson learning objective to guide the teaching and learning activity. Okay, based on the DSKP learning standard previously, we developed four lesson learning objectives that students are expected to achieve by the end of the lesson. Students first will be able to form linear equations from real-life situation. Next, they will learn to solve one variable linear equation accurately by applying the correct mathematical procedure. Beyond solving the equation, we also want students to apply linear equation to solve their real-life problem and explain and justify their mathematical reasoning when discussing their solution. These objectives are designed not only to develop procedural skill but also to strengthen student conceptual understanding, reasoning, and confidence in learning mathematics. To achieve this learning objective, we are design our lesson by using the 5 if instructional model, which encourage students to learn actively throughout the exploration, discussion, and meaningful learning experience. I will now hand over to my partner, who will demonstrate how these objectives are achieved throughout each step of the 5P lesson. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nur Shafira binti Mat Azmi. Next, I will continue to explain the topic 3, the developing of instructional plan by using 5E model. The first phase is engage. So, to engage students, I will begin the lesson with a real life parking fee challenge. The parking fee consists of a fixed fee of 3 ringgit and 2 ringgit per hour. The total parking cost is 13 ringgit. But before that, I will ask them some questions like, have they ever seen their parents paid for parking, and how they think the parking fee is calculated, whether the parking fee will increases or decreases. Then I will ask a question. If every hour costs 2 ringgit, how can they represent this using mathematics? This may help students to connect the lessons of their daily life, to activate their prior knowledge and become interested in learning linear equations. So, from the engage phase at the beginning, we'll bring them to the next phase, which is explore phase. So, I will get them into small groups, then I will act as to walk around the classroom and observe each group's discussion, and I will ask them some probing question to guide students thinking instead of giving direct answers, and I will encourage students to explain and justify their strategies. So I will ask them to explore which some questions like, what pattern do you notice? How did your group find the answer? Okay, by solving the problems using their own ideas, students may make table, draw a simple model, work backwards, and use trial and improvement to get the answer. So, the purpose of this explore phase is to encourage discussion, develop problem solving skills, and allow students to explore before learning. Next, after they have finished their discussion, I will call uh, the presenter of each group to present in front of the class to tell their findings, how they get the answer. Okay. Then, after that, I will explain and introduce the variable of x from the card situation. So, 3 ringgit is the fixed parking fee, 2 ringgit is the subsequent parking fee hours, which cost 13 ringgit. So, I will solve that the unknown, that is the variable x, 2x, so equal to 13 minus 3. Because of 3 is positive, when we get into the other side, we need to put the sign negative. So 13 minus 3, we get 10. Then 10 divide by 2, x equal to 5. So 5 is the hours of the subsequent fee. So, the purpose of explaining phase is to connect students' ideas to algebra and build conceptual understanding behind that. After I have finished explaining in front of the class, I will move into the elaborate phase, which is the activity is the which parking option is cheaper. So I will give them two different kind of situation, which is mall A and mall B, which is the question is, if they park for 5 hours, which mall is cheaper? So they need to explain their own answer. From this activity, they will discuss and compare both options. Then, then also from this activity, they also can apply their linear equations in a different real life context. They will also can strengthen their reasoning by comparing two parking fee options, and this also will encourage students to justify their mathematical reasoning, mathematical decision using evidence. Last but not least, the evaluate phase. So the activity is the error analysis using mini whiteboards. So each student will get a mini whiteboard on their hands, and they need to show at the same time after they have finished after they have finished answering the questions. So I will show in front of the class the incorrect solutions. For example, 6 plus 2x equal to 12, 2x equal to 12 plus 6, 2x equal to 18, and x equal to 9. So what students need to do is they need to think, is the solution is correct? If not, which step is wrong and what is the correct solution? So from this activity, is to check conceptual understanding among students, identify misconceptions immediately, to provide timely formative feedback, and to encourage students to explain why an answer is incorrect before correcting it. As we have a mixed ability students in the class, so we choose process differentiations uh, to three different groups of students. So the first one is the high achieving students. So what they can do is they can solve extension problems involving two steps linear equations and compare different solutions and methods, explain and justify their reasoning to the class, and support group members by asking guiding questions instead of giving answers. Next, for the average achieving students, they can work collaboratively to solve the parking fee problem using equations, discuss their strategies with group members and explain their answers, and receive teacher guidance through questioning when needed. And the last one is the lower achieving students. They can use a table or balance model before writing the equation, work with peer support and teacher scaffolding to identify the variable and solve the equation step by step, and complete guided question before attempting independent practice. So, from this process of differentiation, I think it must easier for teachers to do as long as all the three groups of students with mixed abilities will get the same learning outcomes at the end of the lesson. Moving on the classroom management and active participation in the topic 4, before the lesson begins, as a teacher, I will explain the classroom expectations so students know how to work respectfully and cooperatively. Since this is student centered learning, so students will work in mixed abilities groups where they can share ideas and support one another. So, uh, the classroom expectation, such like listen when others are speaking, respect different ideas and opinions, work together and help another, raise hand before speaking to the whole class. Everyone has a chance to participate, and mistakes are welcome because they help us learn and improve our mathematical thinking. So the classroom management strategies that we as a teachers can do to make the class is active in participation of students, we can set the clear rules and expectation at the beginning of the lessons. This use mixed abilities groups to encourage collaboration and peer support, while teacher walk around the classroom to monitor students and provide guidance, and also teacher can give positive feedback to encourage participation. The purpose is we can create a safe and respectful learning environment, encourage every student to participate confidently, and help students feel comfortable asking questions and learning from mistakes, and also prevent classroom disruptions through clear expectations and routines. To check students' understanding on formative assessment, we will use an error analysis activity with mini whiteboards. So, the teacher will display an incorrect solution of a linear equation, and students will work individually to identify the mistake, write the correct solution on their whiteboards, and explain their reasoning. This activity will help the teacher identify the common misconceptions immediately and provides an opportunity to address them before students continue with the lesson. So the feedback strategy is we will provide specific, constructive, and timely feedback instead of simply telling students whether their answer are correct or incorrect. For example, we would say, "Good effort. I can see that you correctly identified the variable. Now think about the fixed parking fee. Should we subtract 3 ringgit before solving for X? Try solving it again and explain your reasoning." So this type of feedback encourage students to reflect on their thinking, correct their own mistakes, and develop a deeper understanding of linear equations. Looking back on this assignment, I have learned that teaching mathematics is much more than helping students get the correct answer. As a future mathematics teacher, I want to become a supportive, approachable, and student centered teacher. I want my students to enjoy learning mathematics instead of feeling afraid or stressed. I also want to connect mathematical concepts to real life situations so students can understand why mathematics is important in their daily life. Through these assignments, I have learned that effective mathematics teaching requires a balance between conceptual understanding and procedural understanding. Students should not only know the steps to solve a problems, but they should also understand why those steps work. When students understand the reasoning behind the mathematics, they can develop stronger problem solving and critical thinking skills. My view of mathematics teaching was also changed. Before, I thought teaching mathematics was mainly about explaining the steps and helping students find the correct answer only. Now I realize that my role is to guide students to explore ideas, ask questions, discuss with their peers, and learn from their mistakes. So this helps students become more confident and independent learners. One challenge mm, that I may face is teaching a mixed abilities classroom because students learn at different speeds and have different learning needs. To overcome this challenge, I will use process differentiations, group discussion, and timely feedback to support every student. I believe every student can learn mathematics when they are given the right support and encouragement. Overall, this assignment has helped me become more confident about the kind of mathematics teacher. So my goal is to create a positive classroom where students feel safe to participate, enjoy learning, and see mathematics as a meaningful part of everyday life.
Okay, as I reflect on this lesson, I realized that effective mathematics teaching is more than helping students arrive at the correct answer. It's about creating an inclusive classroom where my students will feel comfortable, confident to explore their idea, ask questions, or even learn from their mistake. As a future mathematics teacher, I want to inspire their confidence, curiosity, and their active participation in every lesson. I hope my students will see mathematics as a subject that is meaningful, enjoyable, and connected to their everyday life, rather than there is something to they simply memorize from the examination or even for the quiz. This reflection also has remind me that every student learn differently. Some students may need more time, encouragement, and support from the others. Therefore, I want to create an inclusive classroom where every student feel respected, valued, and confident to contribute their ideas. I know that teaching is a mixed ability classroom will not be always easy, but there will be challenges along the way. However, I believe that throughout the careful lesson planning, continuous reflection, and a willingness to improve. I can become a more effective and supportive mathematics teacher. Overall, this reflection has strengthened my belief that good mathematics teaching is not about teaching the content, but also helping students developing the understanding, their confidence, and a lifelong willingness to improve, to learn. Thank you.